So I asked in a dyspraxia group what you would like to be as the main focus for Dyspraxia Awareness Week. If you could choose absolutely anything, what would that topic be? And the majority of the people responding said that they wanted awareness on how dyspraxia affects people in their adult life, which I absolutely agree with. I think there needs to be a lot more awareness on adults, regardless of whether it's for Awareness Week or not, all year round, because a lot of dyspraxia focus is on children, and it makes a lot of people think that it's something that they grow out of, or that it's something that doesn't affect adults in their adult life. So let's talk about that. I am going to heavily rely on you responding to this video in the comments to talk about how dyspraxia affects you as an adult, and I will do my best to share the information that I have to help with people with dyspraxia. So the first thing that I would like to talk about is dyspraxia in the workplace. We spend most of our life at work than we do doing other things. Obviously, that's if you are working full-time. If you work part-time, then you have the joys of not having to spend most of your life at work, which is great. And I am envious of you, but there we go. The most important thing you need to do at your workplace is just let your management know about your dyspraxia and roughly give them a brief explanation of what that entails, which will be that it may affect your concentration if there's a lot of background noise, if there's a lot of clutter, if your desk is in a space where people are going to be walking past you all the time, or if you work in an environment that is unpredictable. So especially if you work in retail, how people's attitude will affect your ability to process information, and how verbal information, instructions that are given to you will need to be followed up, written down, just to make sure that you understand it. It doesn't affect your intelligence. It just means that the way information is processed is different to other people, and then they will hopefully ask what they can do to ensure that they are doing what they can to make sure that your work life is a good one. It is a manager's job to do that. It's not unreasonable to ask for them to do that. If they think that it's unreasonable, then you need to definitely get in touch with your HR, but hopefully that won't be a problem. Chances are your HR team will want to be involved because they will likely want to do a occupational health what's the word I'm thinking of? Like a review type thing. Quite often in workplaces, they have this done by an outside company, especially if you work for a small company or if you work in retail and things like that. Quite often you'll get a phone call from someone, they'll ask you a bunch of questions about your role, what you need to do, and they will then make suggestions on what reasonable adjustments your work should be doing to make sure that, again, your work life is happy and you can do your job as best as you can. Work is very important, and making sure that you have that balance is so important. If you have any experiences with this, can you please put them in the comments so that others can read it? If you work for certain companies and you've had really good experiences, please share that, because there could be someone else watching this video who works for a similar company to you or does a similar kind of role. I will also do the same in the comments, otherwise this video will be forever. Memory and time management is another thing that is spoken a lot about, and a lot of people ask me, how do I manage my time? Why am I always forgetting things? And the truth is, your brain is working at such a fast pace that things get lost. There is no A to B in our mind path. There is A to every single letter of the alphabet and not in the alphabetical order before you get to Z, and things will get picked up and dropped off. So forgetting things is totally normal. It's not something to be too particularly worried about. The way I do this is, if I know I have to do something before I leave the house, then a photo frame that's near the door will be obviously turned around. Something obvious will be moved or something, and then I'll go, right, I did that because I need to do this. I will do the thing and then correct it. My keys are on my sunflower lanyard. I will sometimes put a loose knot in that. So again, when I pick those up to leave, oh, I did this because I need to, right, okay. I also recommend setting alarms on your phone. Definitely make use of your phone's calendar. I say this, I don't do this, I know I need to because I forget everyone's birthday. I heavily rely on family telling me when people's birthdays are because I am shocking, and that's just who I am. So definitely remind me to remember to do that. And it can be really simple things to put in your calendar as well to remind you to do things. It could literally just be things like making sure that you have breakfast on time, making sure that you're drinking water every day, that you're showering on time, that you've brushed your teeth, like those simple little things, which may seem completely simple and ordinary to other people, but that can be difficult to people with dyspraxia, with autism, Asperger's, ADHD, anything neurological. Those things can be a struggle, and so it's okay if you struggle with those things. Again, if you have any recommendations, apps or anything like that, in the comments. Social life can be quite a struggle, as we don't always understand things like sarcasm, certain jokes we don't always understand, social cues, volume of our own voice, tone of our own voice. I think it's really important to have a small group of friends than a large group of friends. I find that large groups of friends can be quite toxic in my experiences. I've had quite a few different friendship groups over the years, from school, uni, things like that. And I really, really struggle with big friendship groups. That it needs to be small. You need to have 2 or 3 people that really get you. And you want to put all your time and effort into those few friends, because otherwise, if you're in such a large group, their social relations to one another are constantly changing, and someone did this and someone did that, but because you're not in that little section of the group, you don't understand, and things are happening all the time, and keeping up with it is just, they all have their own humor in different, large groups have subgroups, and I cannot keep up with them. And so yeah, I highly recommend having few but close friends. Obviously we don't get to choose whether or not we have close friends or not sometimes, but if you can, I would say stick to having a small group of friends rather than a large group of friends. If you've had good experiences with big group of friends, and I'm very jealous, I've struggled. It's a struggle, and I think for most of us it is as well. So again, don't feel like you're different in any way, shape or form, because even neurotypical people also struggle with big friendship groups, because as I said, they can be quite toxic, they have subgroups within them, and it's just not for me. Managing things like money, bills, adult stuff, is really hard. I really rely on, so this is not a sponsorship in any way, unless you want to sponsor me. I have a Monzo card, and I know that now there are a few banks that do a similar thing. I'm pretty sure NatWest is one of them, but my main bank doesn't. But within the app that you have, you can set what your rent is, what your electric is, what your internet, phone bills and all that are. So it works out how much money you have left based on how many days are left, whether it thinks you're going to go into your overdraft or actually you're going to be able to save money. I really recommend something like that. If your bank has that built in, definitely make use of it. I have it on my Monzo card. I love it. I also use spreadsheets because analytics and things, that's my jam. That's one of the things that I'm obsessed with. But it's so good to have, because you can visually, it uses a pie chart, it uses a color code. Visually you can see what's there, because numbers, words, it all becomes too much, it becomes confusing, you get overwhelmed and you go and then you spend loads of money because you saw that thing in the shop that was really cool and you just couldn't not buy it. So make use of those things. If you have any apps that you might suggest, again, in the comments. Making a list is very important. Even if you're not able to use certain apps, make a list at the beginning of every month. So this is how much I got in my wages, or with other income that you may have, this is how much is expected, and just, every now and again change that up, because at the beginning of the year your spendings and outgoings are going to be different at the end of the year, unless somehow you have the most amazing routine on things that you do ever. I'm very bad at sticking to routines, so here comes the next bit, is daily routines. So my last video was a routine challenge. Having a routine is very important. I suck at sticking to routines. I did the routine challenge and then the following week everything just went if you did the same, that's fine, because I also did, but trying to stick to a routine, it is important. It's so important, because the week that I did the routine challenge, I was super happy, I was on goal with everything, and then the week after was kind of like, ooh, it was a struggle. So yeah, having a routine, it's really important. It works well. Like when we do the routines, it works well, and when we don't do the routines, life goes tits up. You know, if you are dyspraxic, autistic, Asperger's, ADHD, or the big long list of neurodiversities, like, the struggle is real to stick to a routine, and when you come off the routine, everything struggles, but it's fine because we struggle together, or silently. Your home space. So my home space, I have lots of things around me that are kind of like sensory seeking. So over here, conveniently in shot, are my pop vinyls. They have a lot of memories to them because they're things that I've enjoyed in the past and quite often from my childhood. Here we've got photos, so memories of things. So sensory wise, you know, visually and imaginatively, it's doing that. Making sure that my space is clean is really important to me. Everything has a place to go without also obsessing over it. I think if you obsess too much about things being clean and tidy, it can become unhealthy. So making sure that you kind of, you know, you have a routine of when you clean and knowing that things have a place, it just means your mind is clear, and that is really important. Having sensory areas within your home. So I have a gaming corner, I have a workspace corner, which is separate. I know it's really difficult if you're at university, because quite often your room is where you eat, it's where you sleep, it's where you play games, it's where you do work, it's where you do everything. If you have a communal space, as gross and disgusting as they usually are when you're a student, try and use it for leisure stuff so that you can break up your time in your room. But if you have your own home, you know, try and have those individual spaces, because then you're separating those kind of areas, and, you know, your bedroom has to be a place where you sleep and relax, and you have to have those. At university and college, it's difficult, it's understandable, but, you know, try and do as much as you can. Maybe it's having certain areas of your room if you're able to. Again, spaces are usually quite small, some not so small. Just use as much as you can. I have lots of candles. Having smells relaxes me. Having music on relaxes me. I've got like soft pillows, extra soft blankets and things like that. If you are a student currently or have been and you've found a way to overcome that, in the comments. I also highly recommend online Facebook groups. I am in a number of dyspraxia groups. I have my own neurological safe haven Facebook group. These groups are lovely. Everyone cheers one another on. Everyone, you know, that there's so much support. You could put on there, God, I've had a really naff day, this happened, anyone else has been feeling the same, and everyone else comes on and goes, you know what, I'm in the same boat as you. And there's nothing better than, if you're having a really naff day, just knowing that someone else is having a naff day as well. It just makes you feel better. Put in the comments below what groups you're part of. Feel free to add links to them. It will probably automatically hide the links, but I will remake them visible again. You know, making friends online, especially if you're struggling with friendship groups in real life. And sometimes you just want to whine and complain about the people in your life, and you don't want them to see it because, you know, you don't want to upset them, but at the same time you want to talk about it to someone. They're great places to do it. They're all private groups, so unless you're in the group, people can't see what you put in there. If there's anything that you think should be added to a video like this one, again, in the comments, and I will do it in the next video or something. Alternatively, if you haven't been able to add something to the comments, I would like you to put in the comment what your favourite animal is. Yeah, because then it will confuse everyone who hasn't watched the video yet and they're looking at the comments, because some people look at the comments before they watch the video. I will see you next time. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye.